Okay, so welcome to my first Fallout 4 Settlement Showcase. Yes, there is lore and history as well. It took a long time, and I hope you drop a like for all the man hours spent building these monstrosities. No mods were used in the making of these settlements. I built them on console using only glitches to duplicate items and to increase the size meter, all to allow this expansive and immersive environment. I also used all vanilla DLC items to build and furnish. So let's get right into it. After the Quincy Massacre, the last few Minutemen, led by Garvey, were rescued by the General, who now explores his domain. They settled in Sanctuary Hills and settled the Red Rocket soon after, naturally. Ten Pines Bluff called for aid, and the Minutemen were there to help. After joining our ranks, and years later, they now have a fully fledged town. So let's explore it. Okay, so we've surrounded the outside of my Ten Pines Bluff settlement, and it's obviously a lot bigger than what the actual settlement used to be. So here's the entranceway, Ten Pines Bluff entrance, excuse me. Here as soon as you come in, you check in, and of course you decontaminate. This is also where the couriers will drop off the mail for the rest of the residents. This is just a residential build. It has no real other function than just to house the citizens of the Minutemen and their empire. So here we have the first district. We have the general store and a couple other little houses, and we'll get right into those real quick. You know, a small little barbecue, a really homely place. So here's the first place. You know, it's the vanilla house that you can't really delete. It has to kind of stay there unless you have some awesome mods. So I just worked with it, and here's another one. You know, this house has a little bit of a history. You know, we'll see this right here in the corner. It says "Make it stop." Kind of wonder what happens here. Might explain why it's for rent. Doesn't help there's a generator underneath that house either. So here's the other one. A3. You know, slightly bigger house. This man, you know, maybe have a more important role somewhere in the community. So here we have another. You know, and we have just enough beds for how many people was originally in this settlement. It's grown since then, and I haven't really placed hardly any more beds. So you know, in the same situation with the water and food. But when I set it up, they were all self-sustainable. If one of the other supply lines failed, the food line, well then guess what? They could survive on their own. Of course, and you have the general store there too, so that helps. Outhouses are, you know, sparsely placed in strategic areas. We have a nice little field of crops, like I said, self-sustainable. Nice little workbench. You know, it was really hard to fit all of these houses in here because it's so tight knit. There was a lot of rug glitching going on, and that's just what it is. You know, I got kind of creative. I didn't want to just use just metal houses or just wood houses. So you know, there's a boxcar back there, as you can see. You know, small old pre-war remnants and stuff like that. Here's a little catwalk up to the guard tower, which overlooks the entranceway. We always have somebody stationed here. We have a little bit of propaganda that we use as the Minutemen. Make sure you enlist and get that nice bonus. Here's a little shack that doubles as a I forget the whatever those stations are. And here you have a little doctor's office. This was, you know, the bus that you've seen on the outside as we circled around, which doubles as a guard tower and a medical facility. Here's the marketplace. You know, this is where you get your guns, your armor, your ammo, stuff like that. And here you can see the guard bus, the top of the guard. On top of the bus is the guard, was I was trying to say. So, and we have some nice little apartments up here. Naturally, you would think that the shopkeep, you know, or whoever runs the shops would live up there maybe. And then right over here, we have another small little house, just kind of, you know, tucked in there. I didn't know what to do with that space, so I included an outhouse and a house, and nice little stair steps up to this nice apartment complex. And these apartments are pretty nice, pretty spacious. This one happens to be for rent. You know, I want to make it seem like there are vacancies, and we are taking people in as a Minutemen. You know, we try to make it as immersive as possible. You know, here's a couple more. I figured, I had a second thought, and I figured I'd go back in here and just kind of show how I did how I did these. Put a little stove in there, a little couch in the back. You know, like an actual little house. And then boom, as soon as you thought we were done with houses, there's 3 more tucked away in the corner. And these are kind of like the shanty houses, you know, the smaller, extremely cramped. This place doesn't even have a door, you know. But we give people housing. We'll try our best as the Minutemen. Let's close this door so we can get a good look. Bar and grill, barbecue. Each settlement will have some sort of amenity like this. They'll have a bar, a restaurant, you know, a lounge, something like that. This one happens to have both a bar, as you can see, and up on top we'll have a restaurant. You can listen to the tunes and drink away down here, or you can come up here for a nice, you know, bowl of mole rat stew if you want, you know, or whatever they have on the menu. And that's also where, you know, the majority of the food gets cooked for the settlement, for meal times and stuff like that. You pay a few caps and you get a full meal. What's not to love? Okay, so here we have the barracks. Each place has to have a nice little spot for the Minutemen to camp and stay and sleep and, you know, check out their ammo and clean their guns. And this is just where the Minutemen who guard this particular settlement happen to stay and sleep. And it is one of the larger settlements. Even though Ten Pines Bluff was originally a small and really hard place to build on, you know, I rebuilt the house and I rebuilt everything to the best of my ability. And we had to have quite a few Minutemen stay here because there is a large population of I think I was getting up to close to 30 people. So yeah, you know, you gotta have some people guard this stuff. People are resources after all, you know. You don't have an empire without people. Here's the mayor's office. You know, I kind of envision maybe Preston Garvey kind of, you know, retiring here or something like that. Or maybe we have some snot-nosed manager who kind of runs rampant across the town, and, you know, maybe the general has to come and put a stop to it. But, you know, they are loyal. And this guy runs the town, collects taxes, you know. He has a nice little office here. And, you know, you might think, where would the mayor sleep, you know? Where would he hang out? What's his place? Of course, you know, he has a turret on the way up to his house, another turret overlooking the rest of the compound, the nice little town we built here. You know, you have to press the switch to get into his nice little cozy house that's just surrounded by concrete, because, you know, if a rocket launcher flies through the air, he doesn't want to be annihilated. He's got to have that concrete, you know. One of the highest ranking military guys here, gotta be protected. And that's pretty much it. We'll go up here to the very top lookout, and this is where you can get a 360 view of everything around you, any super mutants coming, any raiders, anybody like that. And you also get a really awesome view of this entire town and the scope of which this town was built on Ten Pines Bluff. And as you see, you know, it's pretty expansive. Okay, so here we are now at this awesome construction. This is a farming settlement. This was Abernathy Farm. Now it's Abernathy Farming Towers. We have 2 entrances. One is a pickup. One is your regular entranceway where regular settlers would come in and check in and sleep, from their travels, or if they're coming home. That's just, you have to make sure that that, hey, you're here. You can't just walk in willy-nilly. We do have rules as a minimum. Plus, this is our biggest farming settlement. Here goes a trader right now in power armor, a caravaner. So, but yeah, this is our biggest farming settlement. This farm supplies most of my entire empire. I have other settlements in the works, but they take a long time to build. Like this, the 10 Pines Bluff took 40 something hours, and this I think took around 30. So yeah, here we have the caravan entrance where they will take out the food, and bring in other supplies for this particular settlement. So yeah, we're at the farming towers shipment dock. Here we have the little walkway that extends around the entire settlement, and it also doubles as a guard tower and an entranceway. That's the water silo. Was supposed to be the water silo. So this is where you will put all the food, all the potatoes into the barrels. You'll roll them down the little slide, and then the caravanners will take them and disperse them to other settlements. And up here you have a nice little view of the entire settlement. Now this is supposed to be a water tower, but theoretically, you can't really put water in it, so I just put a water pump at the bottom and a generator at the top, and it kind of does the trick. But I mean, it could be a food silo. It's whatever you want it to be. So here's also like the little marketplace. You have your guns and your ammo. I haven't had a chance to put a lot of stuff in here yet, but it is what it is. It does the trick. Here's the general store. Again, I haven't had much time to put a lot of the stuff in here, but as you go up, you'll see that he lives above his, so he owns that little area. Here's a medical clinic. I'm sorry, this is a little sped up just for time. And you'll come in, and it's a full medical clinic. There's a lot of people living here. The farmers and the workers have to stay in shape. So unlike 10 Pines Bluff, where they have a medical bed and they have a full medical facility, they don't have as many beds at that place because the people there are there to live, but they're not essential. They're not workers. They're not really soldiers. So they're there to keep healthy. These people here are here to stay in shape. Here we have a nice little patch of potatoes. The original shack that was built into the power tower, whatever you want to call it. Excuse me, I'm at a loss for words. A lot of dialogue here. And here's like the nice little kitchen. It's an outdoor kitchen, very communal, very, campground farming-esque. They have some grills and stuff like that. Nothing special. Here you come across the walkway. This is where you don't trample through all the plants and stuff like that, or the Brahmin pin. And you just walk around here. Nice little guard station. This is, again, nice little hangout spot. It's just somewhere where you can hang out and relax on your off hour, whatever you're doing. Come down this way, and it's all a nice little flow. You can come this way if you want, but again, you don't want to mess up the potatoes. So up here is where we normally store a lot of the supplies and a lot of the food that's getting ready to be shipped before we take it to the pickup platform. It's also a nice little place where you can rent a bed to sleep. And I didn't think I got a good shot of that, so I went back up. So yeah, you can see the for rent sign. This is just where passerbys happen to stay, but we'll take in anybody as long as you don't mean anybody harm. Now again, here is the amenity of this spot, the Hanging Garden Saloon, and you can see the two towers right behind it, and they're full of plants. So that's where I got the idea for the Hanging Gardens. They're literally, plants just hanging off the side of those two towers. And why did I put it in towers? Well, we'll get to that in a minute. Right now, here is this huge bar with a pool table, a jukebox, tables galore, so many ceiling fans, awesome, artwork on the walls. I was really proud of this. It's really spacious. There's a bunch of food laid out here. It's another place where they might prepare some food. It's another one of my larger settlements. You come up here and it gets even better. You thought it was just a bar? Well, no. Here we have the Minute Club. Some of the high-ranking Minutemen sometimes come down here just to hang out. But they do supply most of the food for all of our settlements, so they get an additional amenity. They get a nightclub. where they can dance, they can have fun, they can, you know, drink the night away and stay away from the commoners down below. You have to have a VIP pass to get up there. You know, you have to pick so many tidal plants, you know, if you're in the settlement or what have you. Now here we have where people live. You know, there's quite a few people here, so you know each level has a couple beds and a nice little living space. And as you go up, you'll find the plants, and this is awesome. You get a good look at the other tower and the top of the club where we house the another guard station. And here's the plants. And as you go up, there's generators that sound would be crushing this entire audio right now, so I had to mute that. So we had to have a lot of generators. I couldn't at that point in time. I couldn't do the nuclear generator without using mods. So you know, it is what it is. Now here's the entire walkway. Some Minuteman propaganda there on the barn. You'll notice the nice little concrete structure on top of Abernathy House. We'll get to that in a minute. So let's walk all the way around here. Again, this is just so any raiders that come around, we can just pick them off, you know. We have a nice little ammo depot right here, another guard station, nice little spot wherever, because you're walking for a while around here, you need a place to sit. Okay, so here's some more apartments. You know, I just had to find a spot to put these in here. They're all made out of concrete because, again, these farmers are essential workers. If this farming settlement goes down, you know, 50% of the food for my entire empire is just gone. It's just the way it is. The supply lines fell. This is one of the main spots for this. So, you know, here some of the people might sit there and, you know, maybe shoot a couple rad stag, whatnot. Here's a reception office. Like I said earlier, we went through the caravan entrance, but theoretically, if you was just a visiting person or somebody here to stay for a while, you'd come through here and you'd check in, and you know, and this up here is employees only. It's where you start the farming. You know, the regular people would go out the back door and then up and around and whatever they want to do. Farming towers are employees only, off limits. So here's the guard station, and we'll go up the tower here a little bit more. So again, you know, a bunch of plants just around the sides. And then you get to a couple little spots where you can sleep again, and right here's where, you know, a lot of the paperwork is done. But again, generators. I don't have any other spots for generators, so I had to just stick them where I could. And then right here is a nice little hideaway spot, you know, where you can see the entire Commonwealth from here. Which I figured I'd include that little small pan right there. It's really cool. And then rounding up to the end of this particular spot, we'll go all the way up here, and of course, when the general comes, he'll stay right here in this little concrete structure right above Abernathy House, and it's a fully furnished, and it's usually where, you know, Jake Abernathy would stay and his family. They've upgraded a little bit, but when the general comes, you know, he'll always have that nice little spot to stay, like in the mayor's house in Tim Hines Bluff, or you know, Jake's house there, always encased in concrete. Right here, we'll hop up here, go around, and here's like a little sniper's nest right on top of that barn. And I thought that was a nice little thing to include. So, and that's Abernathy Farm, guys. That's what that is. And here we have my trading depot. This is exactly what this is. It's a trading station, a trading post. It is what it is, you know. It's it's the hub of the trading post. This is where all the caravanners get their orders, where they go. Hey, you need to go to Abernathy Farm, and you need to take the food, and you need to take it to Tim Hines Bluff, you know, or whatever place you have. Right here is a nice little general store. That's where you can, you know, gear up for your caravan, and just passerbys can buy stuff from the Minuteman or sell things. You post your Brahmin out here, and you go in, and here is all the supplies. This is where we get our stuff ready. This is where we get all the resources ready to go to different settlements. This is where we keep track of every bit of resource we have. And here is where we would stock a lot of the resources. I accidentally deleted the floor and dropped a bunch of those gold bars into the floor, so I just couldn't pick them back up. I had all those shelves full. So, you know, that's that. We'll go out around the side here, and this is pretty much the main common area, and then we'll enter here, and this is a long hallway where we have the doctor's office. Now this is again, these caravanners, this is their main place, you know, to get patched up. So we do have a full waiting area, full doctor's office. We have a full chem station, tables, beds. You know, the doctor's always on staff. So that's that. And here, the caravanners have to stay the night, or the people who run this particular settlement, you know, getting the resources ready for the caravanners, and the people who, you know, the Brahmin trains, they'll all stay right here. You know, and that's why they can be at a moment's ready to, you know, patch up the Brahmin, do whatever they have to do, get some packs ready, whatever they have to do. They'll be right there, ready to go. Up above, we have concrete encased generators. As you can see, right here is another place where they store a lot of this stuff. Up here is the bar. The bar's on pretty much the very top of the settlement. We have a little small place above that. It's 8 caps per drink. We have food, ingredients, storage. This is also where most of the food gets cooked. This is a smaller settlement, so they don't have, you know, as many people living here. I think it's like 18, but, you know, and again, I count some of those people as robbing caravanners who just stay. Right here is where the leader of this place would stay, or the general when he comes to visit. The guy who runs this place makes sure all of the Brahmin trains run smoothly and get to their destinations, and they track any raider ambushes or anything like that. They make sure that, okay, we have to have a couple more guns, a couple more bodies going on this route, you know, blah blah blah. That's where that's where the majority of other people stay, right there. This is our recon beacon, and before they had the outhouses, I kind of made our own toilet there and added an outhouse down there. There's another spot for additional generators if we need it. I'm sorry this is kind of sped up here, guys, but I didn't want this video to be a whole hour. So, and again, they're all self-sustainable. Here's some food. You know, these 18 people could theoretically live off that if Abernathy Farm went up in flames, let's say. Another homemade bathroom, a water still. I left this place pretty much intact. I haven't really thought of anything to do with it other than just like a central intelligence hub for all the Brahmin trains. So I haven't really done too much with that. I thought about making a general store too. Here's the inside of the armory and the weapons depot and stuff like that. We'll close that door, and that's, you know, if anything happens, raiders come, you close that door and all the weapons stay safe. They can't get to that. We'll close the doors in here. We'll all hunker down and we'll fight. Behind us here is another small kitchen. This is where they do a lot of the grill outs. We'll have a fire pit underneath with meat roasting on top. You know, mutant hound leg, stuff like that. Gotta eat. And you go see the doctor, get your rats cured. So yeah, you know, guns, ammo, that's where you buy it right there. That shows you how to get to the bar. You go up. And then we have all this nice propaganda again. And that's what we have, guys. You know, I don't do these builds often. They take a long time. I am working on another one now, but we need, you know, 1,000 views, 200 or 300 likes for me to do another one of these videos, because I'm not a gaming channel. So I hope you like, guys. Subscribe, and you know, peace out.